Help me welcome my friend Beth Duroy. She is a choral director, voice teacher, and professional singer. She has sung with choral societies, opera companies, and festivals, as well as for colleges and universities. Beth has directed choirs, taught voice at churches, schools, and has been a guest clinician at public, private, and performing arts schools. She is currently the director of music ministries at Hickson United Methodist Church and is adjunct professor of voice at Covenant College, where she teaches voice. Beth received her life coaching certification from Life Mentoring School, like I did, and she uses her coaching tools daily in her teaching and directing. Let's welcome Beth. So,
Thank
Beth,
you so much, Stephanie. It's wonderful to be with you today.
so we are so glad that you're here, and we were just looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what you're doing, all the awesome ways that you are using your voice and encouraging other people to use their voice. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your coaching?
Absolutely. Well, I coach both privately, so both one-on-one and in large group settings with my work as a choral director and voice teacher. So my coaching is definitely, teaching choirs, directing choirs, teaching all of the fundamentals of music, teaching the techniques of singing, but also a lot about how to communicate texts, how to communicate passionately, how to really tell the stories with conviction and with ease and with confidence. So, a lot of my work as a life coach in the voice studio or in the choral classroom is about helping students and helping. I teach young people all the way through adults to really rid themselves of anxieties and fears that they might have about their voices, about performing in front of large groups of people so that they can use their voice, so that they can share the gifts and the skills and the beautiful instruments that they've been given.
Oh, that is lovely. I love that. And I have heard you sing yourself. You have a beautiful voice. And
Thank you.
what a gift you are to your students that you're helping them to turn around and use their voices like that and to use their passions. I just love that. Well, as we were saying, you and I met through the world of coaching and became certified together with a group of people. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about personally, how has coaching really changed your life?
It has been such an incredible gift in my personal and professional life. So, when I first heard of coaching, it was just a actually really interesting beginning that I had. I was doing a side business and we were working, in the business world a lot on mindset and a lot on how to serve our customers at our highest level. In my case, how to serve um, my voice students and their families at the highest level. And so as I would follow certain people or read certain books, certain authors, I just learned more and more about this world of coaching. And I started realizing that the tools of coaching that I was reading about could really help me with some things that I was struggling with in my parenting. I have four children, and one of my children at that time was in his middle school years, and we were just butting heads a lot, and I was just could not figure out how to get over the frustration that I was having in my own parenting. And I just knew there had to be answers. I knew there had to be a way to communicate better with him, to deal with my own negative emotions and frustrations and overwhelm and balancing family and career and all of those things. So I learned about this group coaching program called Life Mentoring School. And after reading a little bit about it, I just knew it was for me. There was just no doubt in my mind that I needed the tools from this program. And so I joined the program as a life coaching student, as a life coaching client.
Mm,
And the tools were incredible, just incredible. The transformations I was having in my personal life. So I actually got into coaching for issues I was having in my personal life. And as things there began to change, I began to realize, oh my goodness, how this could help me in my own performing, in my own mindset about my career and my profession. And then ultimately, as I mentor these students, how
mm,
it could help them as well.
mhm. It's a great answer. And I feel like most of the people that I talk with and work with, so often it comes back to our mindset, which is what I heard you say. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
the biggest tools, I believe, of coaching is the mindset. And, we often can easily forget that we have agency over our mindset and our thoughts and can
Yes,
actually produce our own emotions and better outcomes and actions just by starting with our thoughts and taking them captive. Do you feel like,
absolutely.
yeah, that's really important?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that most of us just accept the thoughts in our mind. We never think to really question them.
Mhm,
And I think that is what I needed somebody to bring that awareness to me, that the thoughts I was thinking were optional, that just because my brain served me a thought didn't mean I had to accept it.
mhm,
So I wasn't a victim to my thoughts. I wasn't a victim to my circumstances. And I just think that most of us don't know that. Most of us just kind of assume that if a thought comes into your head, it must be your reality, it must be your truth. And you just have to feel that way, that you have, you hear people say, like, I can't control how I feel. Right. And while there is some truth to that, I think there's also a lot we can do about how we're feeling. And I think it comes with this figuring out why we're feeling. What thoughts do we have in our minds that are driving those
mhm.
feelings that are being created in our bodies? And so
Right.
just kind of going on an exploration of self-awareness, and it's a beautiful journey. It can be a very painful journey, but
Mhm,
wow, it can be an incredibly beautiful and empowering journey if we will open ourselves up to it.
mhm. It's so true. And I know you and I have talked a little bit about just in using our voices, if it's the idea of, um, our self-talk, our thoughts that we have, that's also a part of our voice that we use, and, I think that really taking it captive, like you were just saying, and realizing that we do have a choice over those thoughts and what we tell ourselves. And you just said this so eloquently, but that we are not a victim to our thoughts. We really are not, or our circumstances, even though it sometimes may feel that way. But
Mm-hmm.
recognizing, we can use our voice for good, for ourselves, and even for other people. And, you're doing that in so many ways, the physical voice itself, but then, like, when someone has that passion, you help them know how to articulate that and to share their passion and their beautiful voice without having the anxiety that sometimes comes with that. So I
Yes.
love to hear that. And, I've shared with you that even me creating this podcast, it was a way of me using my voice. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely can really, kind of see and agree with you in how important it is that we do use our voices for good. And, um, you know, I feel like God gave us a voice and we each have
Mm.
our unique voice. We're made in his image. He has a voice. And so clearly he wants us to use it for him and to help ourselves, but also those around us. So,
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
yeah. Now you mentioned, that you are using these tools, in every day, like within your current work, even though, like you're doing the directing, the voice and all of those things that you're doing. So tell us a little bit about how the tools from coaching have really impacted your day-to-day life.
Yes, yes. So, particularly in the voice studio, and I find that in my collegiate voice studio, I will have students come in with sometimes just really beautiful natural instruments, and we'll work on technique to help them build those technical foundations that they need to be able to communicate what's inside of them, to be able to communicate the music effectively and beautifully. But when there's a lack of confidence, when there's a lack of groundedness in the body, you have to build a solid vocal technique. The body has to be very stable. The body has to be very grounded. And a lot of times students, because they're nervous or because they have anxieties in their life that have to do with their voice and that have to do with a million other things as well, it's hard for them to find that rootedness, that groundedness, that stillness, that surety in themselves that they need to be able to just learn how to get a beautiful, full, expansive singer's breath. And so I work with them a lot on embodying this confidence, embodying this sense of ease in their breathing, in their stance, in their stillness before they're really even ready for it. So um, it's this concept, Stephanie, of seeing what it is we want in the end and then going ahead and doing it now.
Mm.
So I will demonstrate for them in the mirror what it looks like to stand as a professional singer who has been singing for 25 years.
Mm. Mm.
And then help offer them some thoughts that they can adopt, some
Mhm.
beliefs that they can borrow
Mhm.
for themselves until they have 25 years experience under their belts. And so it's really kind of interesting because it's offering thoughts that give them belief in themselves, belief in what's possible for themselves,
Mhm.
and then physically showing them what it looks like in me and
Mhm.
helping them find that in themselves. And I just really believe that the more we practice this in our own bodies, the more our body and our mind begins to believe it, the
Yes.
more our body and our mind begins to accept it as a possibility.
Mm.
And I think once the body and mind accept something as a possibility, it begins to get to work on it.
Mhm.
All of the inhibitions, all of the negative voices that are in the head start quieting down.
The body and the mind is starting to work together instead of maybe a little bit in opposition. Beth, you have shared with us how you're able to help students to overcome anxiety. That is such a big thing in our world we live in right now. So many of us deal with anxieties in different ways. And in regards to working with their voice, you've been able to help them to adopt better thoughts and beliefs about themselves and their voice and how to use it. And can you just share a little bit more of the practical side of that with us?
Yes, I would love to. Especially at the collegiate level, when I have students come in, oftentimes with beautiful natural instruments, but they have insecurities or they have a lack of confidence in certain areas of their lives. It can be really difficult for them to begin the vulnerable work that it takes to really build a solid vocal technique.
Mhm.
So when I'm having these conversations with them and teaching them how to stand properly so that they can then breathe properly, so that they can then find their most beautiful resonance, I'll have to use these coaching tools with them so that they can have the belief that they need in order to adopt and build these principles. And so I will offer them thoughts that they can almost borrow from me, and thoughts that maybe they don't even have themselves yet, or maybe thoughts that don't even feel possible to them yet. And I'll just have them start practicing those thoughts. I'll have them start embodying what they see me be able to do. So I'll stand in front of the mirror and I'll show them what it looks like to be a professional singer that has been singing for 25 years. I'll show them what it looks like to stand like a professional singer looks when
Mhm.
they stand, what it looks like when they breathe. And so we will literally stand there side by side, and I'll show them how to keep their shoulders nice and open and wide, show them how to keep their head and neck balanced beautifully on their spine,
Mm.
show them how to open and rooted with full belief that they have something beautiful and special and unique to offer the world, something that nobody else can give. And it's just the most amazing, beautiful thing to see them start to believe it for themselves, to see them start off with so much tension, literally tension in their bodies that stems from negative voices, negative thoughts that they're thinking in their head that create this sense of, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, all of these different things that they've been telling themselves. And just to literally let them practice what it looks like to take a deep, nourishing singer's breath into their body from someone who does have that belief, because I've been practicing it for so
Yes.
many years. And then as they begin to practice it and as they begin to see it embodied in me, they are able to borrow from that belief. They're able to borrow from what they see me physically doing in the mirror. And then after they've done it over and over and over again, their brain, their mind, their body, their spirit all starts to believe that it's possible for them as well. So it's just this beautiful communication that happens back and forth between the body and the mind. I am practicing it. I'm seeing it happen in front of me in the mirror in my teacher. I'm starting to see it happen for me. My belief is being built that this is possible for me. I can do this. And then, of course, I give them the resources. I give them YouTube links for the most gorgeous singers, right? So they can start really catching the vision, and
Right.
they
Right.
can really start seeing what it is they're aiming for, what it
Mhm.
is they're aiming for as a singer. You know, technically, what am I looking for? But also, what is the mindset that I have to cultivate and develop? You can
Yeah.
be the most gorgeous singer in the whole world. You can have the most fabulous technique. But if you get out on stage and you freeze and your body locks up and your breath locks up, you can't deliver what's inside of you. You can't share with your audience in this compelling, amazing, magical way. And so that mindset piece is every bit as important as the physical coordination that I teach them.
Wow. As I'm hearing you say this, I am seeing it in not only in what you're doing with the voice, but in all of life. And I just
Absolutely.
love this, Beth, because I feel like, you know, just like with the voice, whenever we're willing to be vulnerable, you said the vulnerable work, overcome the anxiety, get rid of those things that say I'm not good enough, and to kind of put on those tools like you've given them to your students, your voice students, but also to all of us in life, right? Because we each have something that is unique and beautiful to offer to the world, be it our voice or be it a gift, a different gift that God's given us, right? And I just love,
Absolutely.
it's like I'm seeing it in both ways with the voice, but also with in just general life skills and gifts that we're given. And, you know, for someone to really be able to hold that space and that belief for your student or whoever we're holding it for is sometimes for our child, is sometimes
Yes.
for a friend, for a client, for a
Mm,
family member. But when we're able to do that for someone, it is such a gift. And they do start to take on and believe that they can do this because we, right, are kind of holding that space for them to believe that. We believe it for them until they
yes,
believe it.
absolutely.
This is just this
Yes.
is beautiful. I know I keep saying, but it is
Mm,
beautiful. And it does show how much of life, and in your case, voice, comes back to the mindset. So much
it
of
really does. It really does. All of these coaching tools are transferable.
yes,
Anything in life that you want to achieve mastery over is going to require this work.
yes, yes.
It just is. There's just no easy way around it. It is work. It is practice. In the case of my own personal practice, I use journaling a lot to
Mhm.
achieve my goals, to achieve the mindset I know I need. And I teach my students the same thing. I will give them very specific thoughts that I think will help with a specific thing that they're working on. And I'll ask them to just, take that journal with them. And part of their practice time is practicing the thoughts they need in order to achieve the technical things that will unlock their bodies and allow them to share their gifts.
Beautiful. The thoughts come first. We know that, right?
Yes, they do. There are no
And
shortcuts here.
that's right. And on that note, okay, no pun intended, speaking to a
Mm.
professional, do you have any last thought that you'd like to share with us before we close out the call?
Only to say that if you are considering hiring a life coach, I would really encourage you to do so. We all have struggles in life. It's inevitable. Life is full of ups and downs. And I believe with all my heart that we are not meant to go it alone. And a coach is somebody who will hold space for you. A coach is someone who will listen, who will allow you to just share in a trusted, sacred space your deepest thoughts and fears and worries and insecurities, and help guide you into the answers that you need, the answers that you need to set you free from whatever is keeping you back. So I just really encourage you to just make the leap and just whatever you need to do, make the leap, get yourself a coach. It has transformed my parenting, as I said before. It has transformed my professional life. Um, I just see the world in a much more joyful, much more abundant, much more hopeful way. And the truth is, you're just kind of unstoppable when you see the world that way. You really are.
It's a good way to put it. And if anyone would like to, they can reach out to you. I will put your contact information in the show notes, and I would encourage them to do that because you are doing a great job with your students. And I just love hearing all the cool things you're getting them to do. So thank you so much for sharing this wisdom with us, Beth.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie.